Hello and welcome to Citizen Era, the platform where we speak truth to power. We're back again. I told you moments ago when we did the broadcast on about the Refresh Nigeria broadcast, which is very good, by the way. Great work by them, and we covered that. We focused on the Nigerian constitution, particularly sections 14.2 and 14.2c that speaks in this manner. I'm going to go into it. Um, Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria. 14.2a. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. 14.2a. 14.2c. The participation by the people in the government shall be in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. There. I'm saying that offhead. I'm not really looking at the screen. The screen is in another language, but I'm just telling you what the words are. And I will confirm it by coming and showing you. What you see is it's the Igbo translation. But let us do something. So I want to just show you quickly. You may not be able to see it, but I'm going to try. 1 minute. Okay, so now. So this is the constitution itself. Oh, okay. So what I'll do. So what I want to do, I'm going to. Okay, I can see it's a bit of a problem here because I wanted to try and show you this information without necessarily having to do something. Okay, I think it works. I think it works. The most important one is the sovereignty belongs. So we will stick with that. So what I wanted to do, I wanted you to say sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. 14.2a. 14.2c. The participation by the people in the government shall be in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. That is the constitution in English. Now the problem that we've been having is that for over 24 years, many of our people didn't know. I bet for the first 10 years, maybe 15 years, maybe even 20 years, people did not even have access to this constitution to be able to even begin to read the words within it. But in the last 3 to 4 years, I and others, since 2018, I have been talking about the Nigerian constitution. I have been looking at it. Created a group called the Constitutional Awareness Action Group on Facebook. Many of you following Citizen AY would be aware. There are some members even of the Citizen AY Constitutional Awareness Action Group, CAG, for short. You will be aware of that. We started looking at the constitution and we looked at different areas and we talked about what the government was supposed to do and everything else. And we looked at this particular section, but we didn't look at it with this particular set of eyes, if you like, because it dawned on us that the government of the day, whilst they were telling us that we have a constitution, they were only interested in telling us about the unity of Nigeria. They still are not interested in actually talking about our rights as citizens and everything else. So one of the things that we started doing of late is to look into those sections of the constitution again. And we found that there are actually specific powers conferred to the citizens. These powers are more powerful than the Bible that you carry around. Many of you like to carry the Bible and the Quran. Look, I'm a this and that. But they have no constitutional basis upon which they operate in Nigeria. If anything, they are used as a distraction on the minds of millions of people. And the government, in many cases, sponsors and works closely with the churches and the mosques to keep you distracted from knowing the powers within this constitution. Yes, the constitution is flawed. It's broken. It's not functioning. I get that. But what I'm essentially telling you, can I make it bigger, slightly bigger? So I want you just so you can see me. So what I'm essentially telling you is that the government don't want you to know these powers. And I do not recall. Correct me if I'm wrong. I cannot recall a time where I have had the president of the nation talk about the sovereignty that belongs to the people or read out. I cannot recall a point where any of the last or any of the presidents that we've ever had since 1999 has publicly come out, and I mean publicly come out, to make the citizens aware of the powers of sovereignty, such as I'm doing right now. Again, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. That is in Constitution, section 14.2a. Now, 14.2c then goes on to say, the participation by the people in the government shall be in accordance with the provisions of this Constitution. I am yet to hear of a government official publicly making a public statement on TV with these words. I haven't heard it. If you've heard it, please share it, and that will help us. Because what we need to do, we the people, we need to make this awareness of our rights as sovereigns, make it aware, available, make this information available to millions of citizens who, up until now, have only seen themselves as sons of. I'm covered in the fiery blood of Jesus. I'm covered in Allah and all of this nonsense, without knowing that the sovereignty, that they are sovereigns above all else, and that sovereignty carries weight within the constitution. It is written in black and white, literally, as you're watching on the screen. This is so important an information that we cannot ignore it anymore, and I want to really go on and explain that. And not only that, now that we're putting this here, we're going to the next step, which we started doing. We started translating it into these particular sections for the people to understand. It is in English, it is in Yoruba, it is in Igbo, it is in Hausa, it is in Pidgin English. Now, the reason why we are doing that is we want to be able to communicate with the people at the level, or at the level of understanding of things. And please, do not make the mistake and think that if you speak in English, you have a high your level of it's a sign of your intelligence. It isn't. It is just you understanding the language. That's all it is. A person that doesn't even speak a word of English, who is an indigenous person, may be more intelligent than you realize. It is important we begin to understand, but if they're not given the right information, they cannot demonstrate that intelligence of theirs. And that is why we're endeavoring to explain this in the many languages. Now, we've only done 4 or 5 so far. We're going to endeavor to do more translations, but I'm going to show you across the screens as we're talking now, because I'm trying to make this as simple and accessible to many people who don't necessarily have to. Now we are making it easier for people from indigenous people to not have to understand English before they know the powers that they possess as sovereigns. It is really important this point is made. So to that end, we are doing this. So now here you have the key sections of the Constitution, 1999 Constitution. Fraudulent, we know. We need to. It has to be reviewed. We know. But these powers are powers that we can use right now collectively. So we need to get it out there to the people to begin to use those powers as quickly as possible. And not only knowing the powers, but how to use it. That's why 14.2a and 14.2c are so crucial. Now, it is now in. Let me go into it. I want to show you. We've also done it in Yoruba. So here we go. So in Yoruba, it is again in Yoruba. It's there. And I'm going to read it to you in Yoruba. I can speak Yoruba, so I'll translate. I'll read it in Yoruba. The reason I'm doing that is because when you hear it and you can see it on the screen, it helps you understand the powers you possess. So I'm shortly going to go and speak in Yoruba on this particular section, translating these key sections of 14.2a and 14.2c into Yoruba language for our market women, farmers, organizers, buka owners, all manner of businesses who do not necessarily speak English, for them to know they have this collective power of sovereignty, because many were unaware. This is really important. This is a game changer. When you get this broadcast, I want you to share it. You are, of course, watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Here we go. It's going to be in Yoruba. Now, nípa báyìí ó ti kéde pé ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn ènìyàn Nàìjíríà láti ọ̀dọ̀ ẹni tí ìjọba nípasẹ̀ òfin orílẹ̀-èdè ń gba gbogbo agbára àti àṣẹ rẹ̀. Again, in essence, that's telling you that you're a sovereign and you have the powers of sovereignty, and the government derives powers and all its powers and authority through the Constitution from yourself as a sovereign. Again, in Yoruba. I'll read that section one more time. Ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn ènìyàn Nàìjíríà. One more time, let me read it. Ìjọba jẹ́ ti àwọn ènìyàn Nàìjíríà láti ọ̀dọ̀ ẹni tí ìjọba nípasẹ̀ òfin orílẹ̀-èdè ń gba gbogbo agbára àti àṣẹ rẹ̀. That's 14.2a. Now we're going to read 14.2c again in Yoruba. Maka and Yoruba. Ìkópa àwọn ènìyàn nínú ìjọba wọn gbọ́dọ̀ rí dájú ní ìbámu pẹ̀lú àwọn òfin orílẹ̀-èdè yìí. Again, translating, the participation by the people in the government shall be in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. it's translated into Yoruba. And the reason why it is translated into Yoruba is for the market women to know that they are sovereign, and if they stand together in their community, tẹ́ bá dúró papọ̀, gbogbo ẹ̀yin ìyálọ́jà, ẹ̀yin àgbẹ̀, ẹ̀yin vulcanizer, ẹ̀yin oníbùkà, ẹ̀yin tẹ́ǹtẹ́ wàgàn, tẹ́ bá dúró papọ̀, àṣẹ àti agbára tẹ́ ní á fún yín ní ẹ̀tọ́ láti bi ìjọba ní ìbéèrè nípa àwọn owó tí wọ́n pín àwọn fún lóṣooṣù fún àwọn ìbílẹ̀ ibo náà ná sí. Ẹ lè sọ fún wọn pé nǹkan báyìí lẹ fẹ́ kàn fi ṣe, àmọ́ láti máa kópa nínú ìjọba lójoojúmọ́, ẹ láti máa kópa nínú ìjọba ní ojoojúmọ́, ẹ ká máa mójútó wọn. Iṣẹ́ àwa ọmọ ọ̀dún ni pé káwa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní mójútó ìjọba wa, ká máa mójútó gbogbo ìgbésẹ̀ wọn. Táwọn máa gbé ìgbésẹ̀ tó rọrùn, ẹ̀tọ́ wa ni, àṣẹ wa dẹ̀ ni, a ní àṣẹ yẹn lẹ́nu, torí àṣẹ wọn gba gbogbo agbára àti àṣẹ ó ti ọwọ́ wa wá. Agbára àti àṣẹ wọn tí wọ́n ń lò, a dẹ̀ lè lo agbára àti àṣẹ yẹn fi bí wọ́n ní ìbéèrè láti fi mọ ìdí gbogbo ìgbésẹ̀ tó ń gbé. Tí ò bá dẹ̀ tẹ́ wa lọ́rùn, a lè sọ fún wọn pé nǹkan báyìí lẹ fẹ́ kàn ṣe, torí pé a ní agbára àti àṣẹ ó ti ọwọ́ wa wá. Tí ọ̀rọ̀ mi ń yé yín. So I'm just translating and explaining how to use that section 14(2)(c) to people in Yoruba language, because we need that kind of translation. That is what we must do. And again, I've got my the Biafran brother, Bright, who did that translation earlier on, and I thank you very much. Thanks to him for the Igbo translation. I've managed to do the Hausa one. It may not be perfect. Don't quote me fully, but it just at least gives you an idea of the powers we possess. And I'm going to endeavor to do that with other languages in the country, where as far as is possible. And of course, definitely I've done the pidgin one, so you will hear all that shortly. But that is the Yoruba version of the same words you hear. What you see here, the section 14(2) and 14(2)(c) in English, is now translated into Yoruba language, which I spoke some moments, just a few minutes now. Not long ago. So you can watch that again, and please share it. Now, I will try and cut sections of it out and do that. This particular section, I'll share it again in a small clip so that people can follow that. But now let's go and look at the other translation into Igbo. So here we go. So this is the Igbo one that's been translated. Again, you see the constitution is there. For our Igbo brothers and sisters, I'm not able to speak the language. I think I'll try a little bit. Nihi ya o si otu kuputa na ochichi bụ nke ndị Nigeria budi ochichi site nnuosoro iwu a na-enweta ikike na ikike niile. That's 14(2)(a) and 14(2)(c). Ntinye aka nke ndị mmadụ. Ntinye aka nke ndị mmadụ n'ime chichi haka aga ahụ naka di iwu nke iwu asiri di. So again, please I do apologize if I don't get the tonation right. I'm not fully understanding the words in terms of I don't speak Igbo, but I was using the knowledge of what I know the words mean in English to try and carry that through. But my Biafran brother Bright did a great job, and I shared that video, and I will encourage you to go and look at that video. I might send a link with that video into this podcast as well for those of you who are watching, because that way you can follow and be able to get an exact idea of how that means. In fact, I'll put the link of that in here as well. So that's the Igbo version of the section 14(2) and 14(2)(c), because every community needs to have this information. This is how we are going to make that change. This is a game changer. This is a game changer. And those of you watching, I am really privileged to be able to share this information with you. Please don't keep it to yourselves. Share it to all family and friends. We need to awaken as many people as possible on this journey. What we've suffered long enough, we have those powers. Because we've not been actively participating in our governance, because of the lack of knowledge of these powers, we've not been able to use those powers. Now we have these powers, we can now actively participate in our governance, knowing that we are backed by that same constitution. The Bible doesn't back you in it. The constitution, the Quran doesn't give you any backing to be able to participate in your government. There's nothing. They have no powers that can give you backing to hold your governance to account. Only this constitution has it. And that is why it's so important that people understand it in their own local languages. Really important. Now let's go to the next one. So here we have the Hausa. Now I'm not trying to for in Hausa language. Don't haka ta bayana shewa. Mulkin Malaka na aluma Nigeria ne wanda gwamnati ta wanan tsarin mulki ta samu dukan iko da ikonta sashi na 14.2a 14.2c za a tabata dasa hannun jama'a a cikin gwamnatinsu kama yada wanan kundin tsarin mulkin ya tanada. Now, please, I do excuse the pronunciation. I don't speak Hausa language, but I'm just trying to demonstrate that it is possible for those translations to be done in our local languages so that people, indigenous people who don't speak English, they will have an understanding of the powers that they possess and begin to be part of the process, and they can partake and begin to hold the government to account, because in all cases we are all sovereigns. The problem has been that we didn't know that we were sovereign for 24 years. Now we know. We must begin to use those powers, and that's why we're doing this. Now we've done it in Yoruba, we did English, we've done it in Yoruba, we've done it in Igbo, we've done it in Hausa. Now we're going to do the one that many of us will probably recognize in Pidgin, and then we're going to be doing more. But I'm just doing this as a way to give us a window into the powers that we possess and begin to explore and begin to get our people to get used to that. Those powers must be something that every community must have, because when the community knows they have powers, when those elected officials come to them, they are going to be asking them certain questions, specific questions. They are not going to be scared of them. That is the object of this process. We need awareness in our local languages. Very, very, very important. So when you get this broadcast, I urge you, share it to every community, because the need for us to begin to hold our governor to account, actively participating in our governance on a daily basis, is very, very clear for us all to see. Because they've done that, because of the lack of knowledge of our rights, they've defrauded us via the fraudulent the subsidy scheme, and now the electricity, and in all areas of governance, because we've not understood that we have the powers to monitor our governance using this section 14.2a and 14.2c. They are really powerful tools. The Constitution is not perfect by a long shot, but they are powerful tools that we can begin to use to hold our governance to account. And it requires collective participation by sovereigns. That is the point that is being made here. Now let's carry on. Okay, so now this here, there's a side missing behind, but I can translate that to you. So this is in Pidgin. Power where the people get inside the Constitution, Section 42. Sovereignty means saying, now we be the people of Nigeria, we own them. Now from all our hand, government, they borrow power and authority. Now we be the oga pata, which means that we are sovereign. We mean say we be sovereign. That now what is sovereignty mean? The part where they really important, make we understand. We get right to take part in government according to waiting day inside the Constitution. We get right. All of una be sovereign. Una get right to take part inside in our government according to waiting day inside Constitution. That means we be the sovereign. We get power to ask anybody wey dey in government, be it either na local government na state or na federal or na minister. Now we be the sovereign. They must answer our question. The power wey dem dey use dey rule over us, dem borrow am from all of us. Make we begin dey question them. Make we dey watch our government. Make we dey question them every day. We get power to question everybody wey dey government. When they talk say no, we no get time, you go tell no, now we be the sovereign. Now we be the oga pata. You know, hear am. As una dey get this message, I want make una share am. This one dey important. Make we begin to share. Make our people know say we get power. Make we begin to hold our government to account. Because if we no question them, now so they go to continue the loot. We go there inside darkness. When we begin to question them, they no fit loot. When we begin to use the power, now the power we get, the sovereignty, now we must use. Make we use them. They monitor what them they do, night and day, 24/7. All the monetary allocation, monthly allocation, we suppose they monitor them. Now how much it coming? Now where you go? Now who you spend that? Make you tell us. Make we they call town hall meeting. We not get power to tell the commissioner, the local, the state chairman, House of Assembly, House of Reps, senators, governors. You not get power to tell them say they must come to town hall meeting. Make they can't explain now where the money, the monthly allocation, now where you go. You not get the power because sovereignty, the power whether they use governor, them borrow them from we the sovereign. You be sovereign. I want make you know that. Make we begin work together in every community, all local government area. If you now get this message, make you now pass the message to all our family. Make them know say now we get the power. The government they're supposed to serve us. We don't tire for all the corruption what they do. Now we go begin to use the power. The power where they talk so, it day inside the constitution. No, don't be ho-ha. This one don't be ho-ha. Waiting I read to you. Now waiting day inside the constitution. Make a quick show now. I go up now. You see, waiting day up here so. You see waiting day here, 14.2a, 14.2c. Now I translate to the one way they see so. Now I translate that. So 14.2a, 14.2c. You now see them. 14.2a, you see them. I want to make you see them. 14.2a and 14.2c. Now translation into pidgin. Make our people, make we be know say now we be the sovereign. Time don't knock. Make we begin the hold our governor to account. I beg. And they beg now. So I want to make all of us know. Say time don't knock. Oh, how long we not going to suffer? How long we not going to suffer? We don't tire. So I want to make we know. I go to do more translations to other languages. So I will be doing more translation as and when it's possible. I will ask some more friends to do more translations. I might even get us to join me on a live broadcast and do more translations. But so far, this is what we got so far. We got about 5 translations. So we got in English, of course, in Yoruba, in Igbo, in Hausa, and of course now in Pidgin. I want you to share it. I will see if I can break that up into in areas so that people can just focus on that alone. Make it small so that we can really target each of the area, look at each of the indigenous people to begin to use those powers right now. We need that to be really fast track across the whole nation. We're not here talking is not going to solve it. It's action. It's our collective action. We've been blinded for too long. Now we must rise. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak to power. When you get this broadcast, I want you to share it. Please click subscribe. You see there's a little button you can see on the screen there. There's a little button there, that one there. Let me see if I can show you. Can you see it? I'm just trying to see. Oh, you can't see my arrow. Oh, you can. Yes, here we go. See this button here? Just here. It tells you to subscribe, hit notification button, and give us a thumbs up. Please, I'd like do that as you're watching right now. I'd appreciate you to do that. Follow this broadcast. Help us share it. We need to reach more people. Now, one more thing, I'd like you to just go ahead and do this for me. I really appreciate your support in this. Really important. Really, really, really important. Now, here we go. So, go ahead and subscribe. Hit notification button. Give us thumbs up. So, one more time. Subscribe. Hit the notification button. Give us the thumbs up. So, we really like that. Please help us grow this platform. The information that we're sharing, you can see clearly, is aimed at giving us all collective benefit. Because it is in getting that collective benefit that we'll be able to get the infrastructure we need. Infrastructures like water, light, road, schools, bridges, healthcare, safety and security within our community. Using the powers that we possess. We are sovereign. You are a sovereign. We need to exercise those powers and begin to monitor on our governance. We must monitor our governance on a monthly basis, on a daily basis. Because that is the only way we can shine a light and stop corruption happening in our communities. It is time we begin to take this collective action. Please share this broadcast. You are, of course, watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I will be back later on. Let me know how you find this broadcast. Does it make sense? Can you relate to it? Leave some comments. I'm going to break it up into tiny bits as well so that it targets each of the specific Yorubas, Igbos, and Hausas so that they can really use that because we want it small to get the information to go far and far and far. So shortly, you will be seeing that come up. But in the meantime, I'll play the full amount first. And please, of course, share, subscribe, hit the notification button, give us a thumbs up. You are watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. What I'd like you to do is to keep it locked on. So what I'd like you to do one more time is to keep it locked on. So thank you so much for watching and bye for now. Please do share, and share. Hope you find this beneficial. Share, share, and share. Thank you, and bye for now.